while building an audience, and what's your perspective on this? You have a video, you have a TikTok, you go really hard, you build an audience. How do you turn the people that watch your TikToks from an audience into an actual dedicated fan base group? You know, people that just watch. Because I just recently was listening to something, and they kind of described it as two different things, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Yeah. They were like, just because you have a big audience doesn't mean you have a big fan base, and they're completely different things. You know, it's very, very interesting. So how do you get that audience to become diehard fans?
I absolutely agree. That's so different. And this is something that I fell into for a very long time. So I had, as you know, I used my strategy. I got the millions of streams. I was added to Spotify editorial playlists. But for the longest time, nobody knew what I looked like because all of my cover arts are illustrations. And I would barely post my face on social media. And it was a hell of a climb. Just telling people, hey, I'm Marty. I'm the guy who wrote this song. When I started out on TikTok, I really hit my stride once I told people that I was the guy who wrote the song Spaces. And then all of a sudden my following just went up, and they're just like, so you're that guy. I've been listening to your song since forever. Like my first heartbreak, I cried to that song. My next heartbreak, I also cried to that song. So sometimes it's just really putting yourself out there more, trying not to be so mysterious as a person.
Interesting.
And second is using like modern day tools like live streaming. Live streaming is very important to interact with your fans. There are so many good stories of people on Twitch who really hustle from one follower, and they're just gonna keep streaming even though it's just one guy watching you, and then they move up until they hit thousands of people, because these are the kinds of people who are willing to perform at 100%, even if it's just for one person. And I feel like I'm pretty trained at that, because when I was starting out, it was open mics, a lot of open mics.
Yeah.
And most open mics I would be put in the earlier set, and you need to move your way up to the later set when more people have come in. But when you're the early set, I would normally just perform for the waiter. That's it. But I'm not gonna hold myself back from performing at my best just because it's just the waiter. So it's the same thing with here. It doesn't matter if you have 10 followers or 100,000 followers. Just keep doing things as best as you possibly can. And last would be to interact with your community as much as possible. So I'm sure you get this, where somebody will tag you on Instagram stories and just be like, it's a screenshot of your song from Spotify, and they're just gonna be like, listening to this song now. And a lot of artists will just ignore it. They're just gonna be like, oh, that's nice, somebody thought about me, or somebody's listening to my music. But that is an opportunity to talk to someone and get to know someone and say thank you. In some cases, you can even just give them a voice message saying, hey, thank you so much for listening to my song. I really appreciate it. Or there are sometimes when people would listen to my song called San Francisco, which is very sad, somewhat suicidal kind of song. So I would always message them and ask them if they're okay.
Wow.
I'll send them like a voice message. Hey, are you okay? Because this song isn't necessarily like the happiest song. Like, how are you feeling? So I think really getting to talk to your fan base and, befriending them, because these are the people who are putting food on your plate. So I think there has to be some, there has to be a lot of effort in getting to know them, because we would be nowhere if it wasn't for our followers, if it wasn't for our fans. So just taking 5 minutes out of your day to message them and let them know that you're listening to them or you see them is very important. Like, make a Facebook group. I just made a Discord group for the first time, even though I feel like this is something that younger generations do, but I had to figure it out. How to use a bot, how to make my different server channels. I want to do that because I want to let them know that I'm grateful
Yeah.
for them. And there's this thing, you don't need to have millions of fans to be a sustainable artist. You need to have, if you have 1,000 solid fans.
Yeah. The rule of
who are
1,000.
willing, if you have 1,000 solid fans who are willing to buy your hat, your merch, your sweater, your T-shirt,
Yeah.
that's automatically, if you make a $5 margin on a T-shirt and you sell that to 1,000 people, that's $5,000. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You don't need to target so big.
Yeah.
Just work on this small community that you have and try to
Yeah.
grow that bit by bit. Yeah.
It's so true, man.